The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello, everyone. Good to see you again. I hope you're doing well. Let me see. Let me get you caught up with the news. So, for today, and I don't know how long, my Etsy store, Viridian Tea Company, is taking a bit of a vacation because the past couple of vendor events have been really, really good. So I need time to get caught up on my inventory. So I do apologize for the temporary closing of my store, but it really needs to be done. But in the meantime, you can purchase my teas from Tierra Luna Mercantile in Fort Morgan, Colorado. You can also purchase them at Apothecary Ferry in Littleton, Aspen Grove, Colorado. Or you can get Colorado Sunrise, which is my rooibos blend, at the Wheat Ridge Co-op, also in Colorado. So again, if you follow me on Etsy, you will know when the store is reopened. But for right now, I'm taking a break to do inventory and to replenish all the lovely, delicious tea blends that I have for you, the wonderful customer. So thanks for being patient in advance. And I do want to give a shout out to Mutiny Markets. I was a vendor yesterday at their Mutiny Market in the Town Hall Collaborative in Denver. I had such a groovalicious time. The DJs were excellent, just checking out what the other vendors had to offer. A lot of vintage clothes and vinyl and jewelry and all sorts of stuff. And I do have to say that the vendors at the event were they act like a family. It was really, really cool. And it was also really nice to have several of them come up to me and introduce themselves and be like, hey, welcome to the market and welcome to the family. So it was really nice. So thank you so much to Mutiny Markets and Town Hall Collaborative. And please invite me back at your next event, please, because I can't wait to return. I really can't. So let's see here. Oh, yes, one more thing. So as many of you know, I am in talks with my old alma mater, American University in DC, to have my tea blends and some of my books sold in some of the stores on campus. The business proposal has been submitted, and sometime this week I'm going to find out either yay or nay. So I will keep everyone posted to the details, but I really hope that it's yay. Let's see what else. Was there anything else I needed to discuss? Oh yes, I did state that I was going to be a vendor at the Women's History Month celebration at Stanley Marketplace. I have canceled that performance or that vendor moment because I'm again dealing with inventory, but I will be volunteering at the Denver Public Library at Fiction Beer Company on Colfax in Denver. So if you're looking for some good library books at a good steal, come on by, and all proceeds are going to Denver Public Library. So I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And I think that's it. If I've overlooked anything, my apologies. But without further ado, let's get to the books. So this first one, there's always a story behind whatever I read. This particular book, everybody was talking about it, like everybody. And whenever there's like a book or a CD or a movie that everybody's talking about, it makes me not want to engage in that particular activity. I don't know. I guess it's like, I think that there's so much of a hype that when it actually happens, it's a letdown for me. So I just kind of avoid it altogether. But I went ahead and I checked out this particular book, devoured it in 2 days. I think it was 2 days. And what a disturbing read. This is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Rusell. And this book was published in, let's see, it was published in 2020. And I do remember everybody talking about, oh my God, My Dark Vanessa, this is such an amazing book. It's so terrifying. It's this and that and that. And like I said, I just waited. I thought, I just don't want to read this book. Now, having said that, one of my all-time favorite books is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. And if you don't know the story, it's about a man, Humbert Humbert, who enjoys the company of nymphets, girls that are a certain age. And there's a reason behind it. and he ends up becoming obsessed with a particular nymphette. Lolita is her name. Her real name is Charlotte. And just the turmoil and the disgust and the mind games, and it's like who's controlling who. It's a classic, and a lot of people just can't read it, and I totally get it. There's also the Stanley Kubrick movie with Peter Sellers in it, and James Mason, and it's a phenomenal film. And then they also did like a modern version with Jeremy Irons in it, which was I thought was really good, and it portrayed more of Humbert Humbert as being a monster than a gentleman. But again, that's just my opinion. My Dark Vanessa kind of deals with that same situation, and I really could not pull my eyes from it. So let me just read the inside of the dust jacket for you. Let's see. Exploring the psychological dynamics of the relationship between a precocious yet naive teenage girl and her magnetic and manipulative teacher. A brilliant, all-consuming read that marks the explosive debut of an extraordinary new writer. 2000. Bright, ambitious, and yearning for adulthood, 15-year-old Vanessa Y. becomes entangled in an affair with Jacob Strain, her magnetic and guileful 42-year-old English teacher. 2017. Amid the rising wave of allegations against powerful men, a reckoning is coming due. Strain has been accused of sexual abuse by a former student who reaches out to Vanessa, and now Vanessa suddenly finds herself facing an impossible choice. Remain silent, firm in the belief that her teenage self willingly engaged in this relationship, or redefine herself and the events of her past. But how can Vanessa reject her first love, the man who fundamentally transformed her and has been a persistent presence in her life? Is it possible that the man she loved as a teenager and who professed to worship only her may be far different from what she has always believed? This was an astonishing, terrifying read. It really, really was. And what's funny is that as I was reading it, I kept hearing the song by The Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me. It's like, oh yeah. You know, I books like this, you can't really say black, you can't really define them in black and white. There are varying shades of gray. And, you know, when I started reading the book, I was like, okay, so we have this 15-year-old, well, now she's an adult, talking with this much older man, and apparently they had a relationship. And then you find out it's been going on, and it's still going on between the two of them, but it's tumultuous, it's dangerous, it's manipulative. You know, there are tons of lies, there's tons of shattered egos and false allegations, and dealing with the whole Me Too movement. And, you know, I at times it was really kind of painful to read. It really was, especially the scene where she finally offers herself to Jacob when she's 15 years old. And, you know, I've heard stories of people that I don't know who, when they were younger, older men sought them out because they thought that they were, you know, oh, you're way more mature than an 18-year-old, and, you know, you're so attractive and you're so pretty, and, you know, I can see why men your age or boys your age would not be into you because you think so much older, you act so much older, and just spinning the web of lies to ensnare some of these people, some of these girls who didn't know any better. You know, they were seemingly far wiser beyond their years, and yet they were extremely naive at the same time. And with Vanessa, like, I just wanted to just shake her a couple times and just say, he's lying. This is all manipulation. This is a power trip. This is him trying to control you. And yet I feel sorry for you because you're receiving affection. You're receiving attention from someone that you look up to, someone who gets you in the fields of literature and books and intellect and things like that. So yeah, like I said, this kind of book you really can't do it. I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to just talk about this book, but you can't really define this book in black and white. It's so gray. It really is gray. And then when Vanessa is meeting up with the former student who is the one who's filing all these allegations against Jacob, you're listening to Vanessa kind of justify and have reasonings for why she was and still is in a relationship with this man who's not what he appears to be. But it's chilling. It was insightful. It made me angry a lot, and I'm glad that I read it. The hype was true. This was quite the book, and in comparing it to Lolita, yeah, but this kind of holds its own. It really does, and it's going to stay with me for a while. But for My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Rusell, sorry about the glare, it receives Viridian Tea House's 5 pots of tea. Thank you very much, Mrs. Rusell, for this book, and I hope that you write many more. Maybe not in this subject, but I was very impressed with the writing. And because you feel like you're right there with Vanessa, and at times you are Vanessa, and you just can't look away. But then there's a part of you that doesn't want to. So, but yeah, this was quite a read. But thank you very much for that. So my next book is nowhere near like that. And this, I love going to used bookstores because, especially if you go in and you're not looking for anything in particular, and there's a particular title or a cover that just kind of grabs you. And so you'll pull it out and you kind of look at it and study it, and you just kind of walk around the rest of the bookstore holding the book. And by the time you're getting ready to purchase it, it's almost like the book is telling you, yeah, I really do want to kind of come home with you. I think you and I are going to have a lovely evening or several evenings of you reading me and enjoying some tea and just getting to know each other. And that's how I felt about The Rose Variations by Marisha Chamberlain. And Marisha Chamberlain is a playwright, poet, and fiction writer. So yeah, this was quite a read. And the title actually caught my attention, but then when I pulled it out and I looked at the cover, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to read this. So the back of it. In 1975, 25-year-old Rose takes a temporary professorship at a Midwestern college, convinced that an exciting career as a composer lies ahead. Believing that she can have both love and professional success without sacrificing freedom, she soon finds that the quest for happiness and fulfillment is more complex than she ever imagined. Yeah, even though this is all about Rose being a composer and a somewhat cellist and a professor, it's more about the life outside of her music that is the bulk of this story. People that she falls in love with, or people who supposedly fall in love with her, but they really don't. They're just going through the motions. Or people using her so that they can get X, Y, and Z. I really like the scene involving the farm, the goat farm or something like that. I really, really, really like that. The women on that farm were quite cool. But this was a quiet novel. It was like you're looking into the life of this one particular woman who wants to be a composer. She is all about the cello, and she's trying to find love. And as the years roll on, she realizes that what's more important, love or her career? love are finally being recognized in a field that has been dominated by men. Love, or as it says, freedom. Love or professional success. And I thought it was interesting that in her circle of friends, those who were involved and or married, they ended up falling out of love or getting divorced or just having these tumultuous relationships. And Rose is just steadily evolving into the kind of woman that she truly wants to be. So in a way, she's almost like this constant in this amid this sea of chaos around surrounding her. But other than that, I truly enjoyed this book, and I did look up the author, and it appears she only had just one novel. Everything else was plays and poets, and I mean poetry and all that kind of stuff. But I truly, truly did enjoy this little quiet life novel, and yeah, it was quite a delight to read, especially after reading My Dark Vanessa. But yeah, it was quite nice. So for the Rose Variations by Marisha Chamberlain, this receives Viridian Tea House's 4 pots of tea. The only reason why I didn't give it a 5 was, why didn't I give it a 5? I actually can't remember why I didn't give it a 5. It just read like a very solid 4. And that's no insult to the author or the story. It just felt very much like a 4 to me. So I truly, truly enjoyed it. And like I said, this was just a book that I saw at a used bookstore, and I just kept pulling it out and looking at it. And I thought, yeah, I really would like to read about this woman in 1975 trying to be a composer of classical music. So once again, Rose Variations by Marisha Chamberlain. Thank you so much. That was a great read. All right, so getting to the tea portion, I have one of my favorite tea companies. This is Holistic Home and Health. And hi, Madeline, if you're watching this. It was great seeing you last month. The tea that I purchased here is the Immuni-Tea. It's a sampler. And the ingredients are elderberries, rose hips, ginger, cinnamon, and clove. I will put all of her information on the video once this has been uploaded. But I just have to say, I've had 3 teas by her company. And so far, the first 2 were phenomenal. I reviewed those 2 tea blends in previous videos, and they should have the label as the introductory screen for the video. But so I'm really excited to try this Immuni-Tea sampler. So without further ado, oh, and just letting you know, I did let this steep for about 7 minutes. It did say steep 5 to 7 minutes and enjoy. So I figured 7 minutes would be enough. So without further ado, Immuni-Tea by Holistic Home and Health. This is definitely the kind of tea that will make you feel so much better. It makes your body feel like you're doing it some good. You know, elderberries are good for you. Rose hips, high concentration of vitamin C. I think that's correct. Ginger is always one of my favorite go-tos. Cinnamon, clove, plethora of good things for your body, soul, and mind, honestly. I do enjoy elderberries, and anytime I can get like a tea or whatnot with elderberries in it, I always gravitate toward it. But the first taste flavor I'm getting with this is definitely the rose hips, and then all the other ingredients are kind of following behind it. But it's an added bonus to know that you're giving yourself a nice shot of good juju for your immune system. But this is quite good, and it's a lovely kind of like a deep purple color because of the elderberries. But this is delicious, Madeline. This really is. And this is an herbal tisane, so there's no actual tea in this tea, but that doesn't mean that it's any less delicious. This is a delicious, delicious blend of tea. So if you're looking for a tea to kind of boost your immune system and just kind of, give yourself a nice good shock, the Immuni-Tea by Holistic Home and Health, you cannot go wrong with this one. This is a good one. This is very good. This is excellent. I'm trying to, there's only been a couple of teas where I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna have to pass on that. But the overwhelming majority of teas that I have tried in reviewing for Viridian Tea House, they've all been excellent. I mean, you really can't mess up tea. You just really can't. But this is quite delicious. And as I'm talking, like my mouth doesn't feel dry, like my mouth feels, nice and fluid, and I hate this word, but moist. Oh, cannot stand that word. But I feel again like my body is just getting good shots of good vibes with every sip. So yeah, you can't go wrong with this. And again, as the temperature cools, I'm getting less of the rose hips, more of the clove, the cinnamon, ginger not so much, but that's okay. And the elderberry is kind of like at the bottom, like it's there, but yeah, like right now, like I said, I'm getting more of the clove and the cinnamon as the temperature goes down. That's quite good. That's very good. Yeah. I'm kind of getting like this second wind. I'm like, oh, okay, hello. All right, so before we wrap up, let's do our tea/water meditation. If you are new to this, hello and welcome. What you do is you get a cup of your favorite tea or a glass of water. You find a comfortable position, either seated like me, standing up, or laying down. We'll take 2 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and you can either close your eyes or you can softly focus on an object in front of you. We're going to breathe for a number of counts. As always, meditation is not about, clearing your mind of all thoughts. No, your mind is going to be riddled with thoughts. But with the meditation, it's to pause. It's like somebody once said, it's like changing the channel on a TV. But if you start to get caught up in the story, just hit the pause button, tell yourself thinking, and allow the thought to just go somewhere else. And then focus on your breathing. That's all. No mantras, no nothing like that. Just focus on your breathing. And if you find that your attention is frayed, that's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. Just pause, tell yourself silently, thinking, and then return to thinking about the breath. Once we're done, we'll take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then we'll end with a sip of your favorite tea or your water. So without further ado, let's begin. Always make sure that your shoulders are not up around your ears and that your tongue is not at the roof of your mouth. Let it relax in your mouth. I learned recently that, having your tongue attached to the roof of your mouth is actually kind of a sign of stress and anxiety. So just let your tongue fall. Don't let it stick at the roof of your mouth. As I remove my tongue from the roof of my mouth. And now as we end this meditation, take one deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to focus once more. And now take your tea or a glass of water and enjoy a sip. You know, I truly do enjoy meditating. I've been doing this for many years, and you know, I've noticed too that when I don't meditate for several days, I can feel it. I can feel the shift within me. So I try to meditate every day. And in fact, I make it as part of my morning routine. So if you need just kind of like a little break from the stresses and the woes of life, meditating for about 5 to 10 minutes and just focusing on your breath, it really does work wonders. Truly does. Well, that's all I have for today. Much thanks to, again, Marisha Chamberlain for the Rose Variations. Thank you once more for that wonderful quiet read. My Dark Vanessa of Kate Elizabeth Rusell. Thank you so much for a powerful and terrifying read. And also to Madeline of Holistic Home and Health for your Immuni-Tea sampler. This was truly delicious, and I'm so glad to be reviewing it today. So until then, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high, and always remember to drink tea is to enjoy life. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.